4 questions. They are based on a passage. So I want you to read it and then dive into the questions. And of course, apart from the questions that I ask, questions that you ask are also important. तो कोई भी सवाल आए बिल्कुल चैट बॉक्स में बिना फिल्टर के डालो और अपन जवाब देंगे. हाँ. So Sri says 60 marks required for 100 percentile. Sri, that actually varies from year to year. Number one. Number two, there are multiple people who get 100 percentile. Not all of them happen to have the same score. So you realize once you go beyond 99.99 percentile, now you cannot have more numbers added. You cannot have fractional numbers in between in that sense. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता ना that we have 22.5 people. It needs to be a whole number, right? So it is usually the top 12 people who get 100 percentile, but all the 12 do not have an identical score. And therefore this question is something that will be fairly difficult to answer here. Okay, and let us start. So take a couple of deep breaths. Make sure that when you breathe, your abdomen comes out, and focus on the passage that is about to come. So slow exhale, and don't forget, the moment you're done with the paragraph, you're supposed to let me know in the chat box. Okay, so here you go. Next, and taking you over to the next. Fantastic, Shri. Giving you 5 more seconds with this slide. Oof, this is brutal, right? Look at the sentence that is quoted from the book, and my God, I get the idea, I get the point. As somebody who teaches grammar and somebody who, especially, there are these areas called misplaced modifier. This is brutal. Done? Ready? Okay, so this is the last paragraph, and then we'll have questions. Man, the last two paragraphs of the book review or the author's review have been like merciless. Absolutely fabulous. Shall we? Okay, so here is the question for you. Why does the author take the example of the CC by GR in the third paragraph? I think I should take you back to the paragraph because we are asking about the purpose. So let me take you back to that paragraph quickly. Here you go. This is the paragraph that we are talking about. In fact, it has also been mentioned here. So to examine this further, and thereafter this sentence. So now that you see this, now that you've read this part, this element again, here are the options for you. Now you tell me what the best answer should be. Now Vaishnav, yes, multiple places, you are absolutely right. Okay, any answer? Okay, so I see two answers. Ronaldo and Sri have shared their options, their answers. So A, to prove that GR is nobody else but RKJ. No, that is not the purpose. That is already settled. So easy to eliminate. The passage does not even mention that it is one of the most famous works, so can be ruled out. And all of you seem to have ruled out D, so let's rule that out as well. And you are absolutely correct. B is going to be your answer to this particular passage, indeed. And here is the next one. Rutik says, can I get 90 percentile? Rutik, very easily. I mean, I'd say that 90 percentile is a small goal. Five months are a lot, Rutik. I mean, seriously, that shouldn't even be a bother, really. So 90 percentile requires what? Last year, anybody who got 8 questions net correct happened to get 90 percentile. 8 questions. I mean, I think you can actually, if you sit down and focus on attempting just 10 questions in those 40 minutes, you are likely to reach there. Shouldn't even worry. Okay, so coming back to question number 2, the answer to this question is stated in the last sentence of the 3rd paragraph. I think that is the place where it was. Let me just go back. Sorry, the last sentence of the last paragraph. And if you read this particular line, we'd have no hesitation in choosing A as our answer, and that's something that most of you have done, but let's quickly look at others. B, it results in the creation of prose that is much better than what we normally read every day. The author is not comparing that writer's prose with the general prose which is produced or written. So therefore B can be ruled out. Somebody has also picked up D, so let's check. New trends are established even in the reading habits of common people, not at all related to this particular term. Just focus on the last sentence of the passage, you'd get A as your answer. So here is the next one. Question number 3, which of the following statements based on the above passage is true? Let's see what you choose. Best stocks. You're putting in a lot of fake votes. One person, one vote policy is what we follow. Okay. According to the passage, the author's stance towards car major is negative, interesting is positive. So there is a mismatch of tone. So remember, a conclusion is supposed to retain the tone of the facts that it has been drawn from. Therefore, A is wrong. B, the author of the passage is an admirer of RKJ's style of writing. False. C, being a famous writer is not the same as being a good writer. I think this is definitely backed up by the passage. Here you go. It serves as a good reminder that RKJ is not a good writer. She is famous. Those are different things, and therefore I'd say that C is definitely true. RKJ writes exclusively for children cannot be determined, so even this goes out, and therefore C is right. Vaishnav has a question: how to choose options with facts not from what your heart says? See, Vaishnav, first up, heart is immaterial when attempting RCs. Heart is needed for overall preparation. You need to put your heart and soul into it. You need to put your commitment into it. And of course, you need to keep your heart away from those things that distract you from preparation. है ना वो आजकल बहुत लोग ये कर रहे होते हैं ना. इनफैक्ट दिस इज पॉपुलर सॉन्ग है ना, वो गड्डी नीवी जी करा के 22 इंच दे पवा के टायर घुम दे नी तेरे शहर घुम दे. Now there are people who keep doing that, Gady route and all that. So you're supposed to keep your heart away from those things. But thereafter, once you start attempting the questions, the only thing that you bring to the table in the CAT is. So in life, I know decisions are about emotions and rationality. You need to strike a balance. Here in the aptitude exam, it is all about mind. Are you supposed to use information outside of the passage? Generally, no. There is only one instance in inference-based questions when no answer choice is true, and you see a situation where 2 or more options are can't say and the rest of them are false. That is the only place where you will bring in your common sense, your logical ability to evaluate answer choices. You may also use them for strengthening and weakening questions at times, but beyond that, we are of course supposed to remain confined to the passage. Whatever our heart says is immaterial. We don't even go by that. So therefore, just ignore it. Best stocks, how to remember the words. Best stocks, I've taken a dedicated session on vocabulary. You'd find it here in some playlist or the other. You can look for vocab strategy Vikrant and you'd find that, and that'll give you a much more detailed an answer. Okay, here is the next one. ओ यस ऋतिक, हाँ रोल इन. अब यार ये गाना याद आ गया ना, मेरे दिमाग में पीछे गाना ही चल रहा है ना, टायर को मत देनी तेरे शहर को. दिस इज दिस सॉन्ग इज एन ईयरवर्म. हाँ, guys, this is Manoj, should you expect this kind of passage in the exam? Absolutely yes. We do get a lot of passages from arts and literature which are particularly reviews. So I very deliberately chosen this because it is a review. So should you expect this kind of a passage? Absolutely yes. Although I may add that the level of difficulty of the questions happens to be comparatively on the lower side today. So questions are easy to moderate, but the passage is absolutely spot on. And you guys are also hitting it out of the park. I mean, it basically warms my heart to see that the moment I give you easy to moderate questions, you get it right. It is moderate to difficult questions where we are still struggling. So it means that you are already at a reasonable level. So the correct answer is indeed D. And with that, let's move on. And move on towards what? Let me give you a couple of old para completion question types. So the old para completion question types are questions where you are given a paragraph with a blank and there is an entire sentence missing from that blank. Then there are options and you need to pick up the right option for that particular blank. So the thought process that you require is identical to the new para completion questions. Okay, so these are in terms of approach easier, but because they essentially help you warm up the same set of skills, I thought that we should do these as well or solve these as well before we get into the new type, which I think we will be covering either this Sunday or the next. Let's see. So here is the paragraph at a more appropriate, proper font size. I am giving you a full 20 seconds to read this. And read this again, look at various clues. The next slide will have this paragraph as well as the answer choices. Let's see. और यार वीडियो यूजफुल चल रहा है तो यार लाइक ज़रूर कर देना. I see very few likes so far. And my team generally worries a lot about these things. Kaustubh, let's go in for a dedicated session on parajumbles. We'll pick it up there. This is more of a practice session, so it becomes difficult for me to get into the discussion of the concepts. Okay, taking you over to the options now. Heinous Vaishnav is something which is very evil, very wicked, very wrong, simply put. In fact, this is the part where I thought some of us may struggle. The rest of it is still fine. Okay, Gautam has shared his answer. Huh? That's quick. Very nice, very nice. So one of the clues that we have here is whatever you put before you need to have some reference for it. So far we are looking at A versus C. Okay, now the trouble with C is that C is talking about those who have offended. Now, should have been offended us or offended others, but then this word offended does not go with truly disown their past conduct and redeem themselves. And of course, look at the next sentence. Of course, some crimes are so heinous. So the paragraph is not merely talking about those who say things which are disagreeable to us. It talks about those who have actually gone on to do something that is wrong. So offended will not go with the theme of the paragraph, and that is why we can eliminate C. And even if you look at D, similar problem. Okay, so that is why the best answer is indeed A. Gautam, you also had an issue. Okay, A versus C. So I think that then settles it. Right? Offended will not go with the gravity. See, look at the next sentence. It could give us a more optimistic, charitable and humble attitude of there, but for the grace of God go I. So what you're basically saying is that, okay, you are in a way shifting the responsibility of your own conduct to some entity above, and you're saying that, oh, यार ऊपर वाले की कृपा है मेरे पे इसीलिए बचा हुआ हूं, नहीं तो मैं भी ऐसी हरकतें करता. So he's saying that, okay, God is kind to me. God is preventing me to walk on the bad path, on the wrong path. Otherwise, I could have also done similar things. So in a way, you basically identify yourself with those individuals, and you also carry this attitude that, okay, it's not the person. It's just that they may not have that divine protection or guidance. So that helps you change your perspective. So there are times when these tiny adjustments in your point of view can bring about drastic changes to the way you look at the world. I in fact have gone on to use a couple of really powerful and impactful tiny POV changes that have helped me get rid of some of those habits which I don't really find very useful in life, which I find bad in fact. Tanmoy, disown. When you disown someone, you no longer consider yourself responsible for them, or you no longer think of those persons as a part of your life. So imagine if a person's parents disown him, then it means that they no longer think of that person as their child. And unfortunately we do see these in the newspapers too, you know, those tiny clippings. ये मेरा बच्चा मेरे कहने से बाहर है और आज के बाद मेरा इससे कोई संबंध नहीं है. You know, my child no longer agrees to what I say or listens to what I say, so henceforth I am not going to maintain any relationship with him. So you've kind of disowned that person. Okay, so the answer for fifth should be A, and here is the next one. Go through the paragraph once again, take 20 seconds, look at all the clues, understand it fully, and then I will take you to options. Vedant, not exactly ostracize. Disowning is more of a personal decision than a societal decision in that sense. Okay, the question. Okay, Kaustubh, good to see that. You're the first one to answer. What else? Were you fortunate enough to have this kind of input? In case not, then let me tell you, you are the best child and the best student ever. We may have failed you, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with you, and you are capable of creating your own destiny whichever way you want. And I think most of you have picked up C as your answer. That's absolutely correct. I don't know why I have these vestigial options available here still. ज़्यादा ध्यान देना पड़ेगा मुझे, रात को नींद पूरी करनी पड़ेगी यार. हाँ. So B, enthusiastic interest in the children's interest is a first principle of strengthening. Is this even connected to the theme of the paragraph? Vaishnav, I have done my master's in psychology, and I can tell you that a large number of mental issues that we face can actually be traced back to parenting. Now, it does not mean that we've had bad parents. They did their best. But then there are times when you're not wise enough or knowledgeable enough or not rational enough to control your impulses. So even despite our best intentions, we at times mess up. So never know. But then now you are an adult. Now you can afford to be your own parent, parent to your own inner child. So take care of that. So see, it is. Here is the next set of questions. So 2 questions, both of these are parajumbles. You would see 4 sentences, and your job is to arrange them to form a coherent paragraph. Ronaldo is saying, why not D? Persistent criticism breeds resentment, defiance. Okay, look at what the paragraph says. It says childhood programming is obviously not all negative. So everything here is positive. Suddenly, if you want to introduce D, you can, but then you need to introduce some sentence, some word, some expression, something like however, something like but, that brings in that contrast. D is a negative sentence after all. So that is why we could eliminate D. Okay, so parajumbles, here is the first one for you. So a paragraph with a lot of word-based clues. If you focus on all those word-based clues, chances are that you'd get this right. Let's see. Okay, everybody is giving me 4, 2, 3, 1. And you are absolutely spot on. That is in fact the answer. Let me highlight the clues. Okay, still, but, he, the condition, which condition. So you notice this he tells us that sentence number 2 should come after sentence number, sorry, let me say this, he tells me that 2 should come after 4. The condition tells me that 3 should come after 2. So all those things. So 4 before 2, 3 after 2, and this still. So the condition corrects itself. Still, she might need an open heart surgery. So absolutely yes. 4, 2, 3, 1. Those of us who put 2 before 3 or 2 before 4, and 3. I mean, just think of it. When do we use the? It's a definite article. It is used before those nouns that we are already acquainted with. So when you say the condition sounds bad, which condition? So you need to mention a whole inner heart in order to justify the. Then you need to write 4 before 2 in order to have a correct reference for he. You know, Sylvester Stallone. So that's the connection. Vaishnav, we we give a lot of emphasis to look at Vaishnav's question. It's a very valid concern. I don't know how much it impacts you in the classrooms, but I've seen this affecting a lot of people in group discussions. The genesis of it is very simple. We have given others the power to judge us, and we are willing to listen to that judgment. So here are 2 things. Number 1, whatever others say is just their opinion. Should that even matter to you? So come to think of it, if I look at your answer and say, oh man, you are a genius, will you become a genius? Or if I look at your answer and say, yaar, tu to na, yaar, tu to dhakkan hai, matlab you are stupid, will that make you stupid? Now whether I call you a genius or a fool, that's just my opinion. That may not be the reality. Okay. And number 2, and this is even more transformational, you think others are judging you. Seriously, do you judge others? Do you have time to go around looking at others' answers and evaluating them and then judging them? You don't do that. Others don't do that either. We have this false sense of importance. We think we are center of the universe. We think we are the main character in everybody's movie. No. You're not. The sad reality is people are not even thinking about us. Dude, come to think of it, there are times when you have a crush, and then don't you complain that your crush does not really have a crush on you or is not thinking about you? So even somebody you pay so much attention to does not think about you. Why would others be thinking about you? Seriously. So they aren't even doing that. Just go ahead. Moreover, internet, come on man, it gives you anonymity. Who knows who Vaishnav is or who Sri is? Let's see. Okay, so it's very easy. Okay, here is the next question for you. Question number 8 on your screen. Go ahead and answer. Manoj, thoda late ho gaya. Pick up the pace. This is tricky. It's difficult to put one of these at the right place. And that one sentence is causing a problem. So what I see is that everybody has managed to figure out 2, 1, 3. The only issue now is in the placement of 4. Some of us have put in 4 here, some have put it here, some have put it at the end. Where does 4 go? Now let's start eliminating. Can I put 4 after 3? So look at 3. Slowly a sore throat progresses to bronchitis and then pneumonia and respiratory complications. So will all this appear like an ordinary flu? No. And therefore this location is not right for it. So what are we left with now? 2, 4, 1, 3 and 2, 1, 4, 3. It has to be one of these two. Right? The last place is gone. So now let us check. So 2, 4, 1, 3 could be under attack, atypical pneumonias. It appears like the ordinary flu. So this it can basically talk about that attack but baffles doctor. Okay, it begins with an ordinary fever and a moderate cough. Now, I think 2, 4, 1, 3 still makes sense. If I look at 1, 4, 3, so 2 and 1, we have no problem with that. But then 4 after 1 is also okay. But then switching from 4 to 3 will be an issue. This is where the problem happens. It is no longer coherent. So could be under attack, begins with an ordinary fever. It appears like the ordinary flu, that will fine. But baffled doctors find that the usual drugs do not work. Slowly a sore throat progresses to bronchitis and then pneumonia and respiratory complications. So first is talking about the journey of a particular illness, how it starts. Third talks about how it progresses. So these two sentences should go in together. Okay, you can put it after, so you can put 4 immediately after 2 in order to keep 1 and 3 together, and therefore I think the best option for us is 2, 4, 1, 3. So breaking 1 and 3 apart is going to be a bit of an issue. So that's about the questions, and here is a thought that I wanted to leave you with. If you want to be the best, you have to do the things that other people are not willing to do. You know, be willing to walk that extra mile. There is no competition on that extra mile. So do not do just about sufficient. There is this word called satisfies. Satisfies is the minimum amount of effort that is needed to come up with a satisfactory result. It's not a great result, but a lot of people simply fall in the trap of satisficing instead of truly satisfying and gratifying their needs, their wants. So please make sure that you're willing to walk that extra step. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the